All right, how exciting. Thank you for joining me today as I complete and am now submitting my capstone project over gender. This project I titled Female by Debbie Tolbert. Okay. During this project, one of the things we will discuss is intersectionality, which is just a combination of being both African American and female. We will discuss my gendered upbringing, what it was like experiencing femininity and female attributes during my childhood. And we will also discuss what life is like when women think for themselves. Have a few final takeaways and moments in there to discuss a few other options as well. To begin, intersectionality, race, and gender. As a descendant of chattel slavery, I would be remiss if I did not mention the complex relationship of race and the role that it plays in my experience as a woman. Uniquely in America, Black women have held spaces in society that were strictly to serve the needs of others. This looks like our bodies not belonging to ourselves, um, through sexual violence, through uh, Tignon laws that say we can't wear our hair out. Um, this looks like forced childbearing, and there's often the lost freedom and autonomy that Black women have experienced. The idea of ourselves was often imagined by others, and that was defined in the role of tropes. I will break down a few of what those tropes are for you today. The first is the mammy trope. This trope or archetype describes a type of woman that is modest. In her apparel, as you will see, she's fully covered. She is not provocative in nature. Um, she's known to be subservient, well behaved, very docile, very gentle, loving, a mother like figure. And this was a role that was introduced during slavery, as this woman would take care of the home, she would take care of the children, she would take care of the slave master. This was one of the roles that Black women were expected to fulfill as a woman, as a female. One of the second types of tropes that we will cover today is the Jezebel. And this role was rationalized during slavery to justify white slavers' sexual encounters with Black enslaved women. Um, Things like she's provocative or promiscuous and had a high sexual nature or high sexual drive would often be said about women in this category as a way to feign the deviance of white men. Women who are Jezebels are thought to be sassy and full of trouble. In modern world, they would be your single mother, someone who's not married but who has children, or like your welfare queen, um, stereotype that was classified during Ronald Reagan's time, someone of a lower income but has like a scheme or a strategy to get something for nothing. Another role that we're going to look at today is called the sapphire. And unlike the mammy, the sapphire is aggressive, loud, and angry. Um, this behavior directly violates the social norm of, a woman being pious or quiet. Um, she's seen as sassy and is known to emasculate men, be very aggressive and domineering. We saw this character come to popularity in the late 1800s and through the mid 1900s. And most notably, one of the characters, Walona, on the show Good Times, she played a very opinionated neighbor who would often come over and let the married woman know what she needed to be doing and encourage the kids to raise a little hell. This was the character of the Sapphire. So now that we've kind of identified what America thinks or is defined as femininity for Black women, I will share my personal experience with gender and how gender was expressed in my personal world. I am a Midwestern girl. I grew up in a modest home, a Christian home, in a religion called the Church of God in Christ. This is a spinoff of the Catholic religion, and it is with the largest African American Pentecostal religion across the globe. Within that religion, women are encouraged to cover themselves, um, to be homemakers, to be full of prayer, to be women of the Bible, strictly adhering to very traditional feminine roles. I'm also a daughter, and I have two sisters, and I was socialized very much to fit within those appropriate norms of femininity within my religion and also within society. My mother also followed very traditional gender roles within her marriage, making the husband's plate, being a good homemaker, minimal work outside the home, and very subservient and a follower to the masculine. Here's an image of what my childhood looked like in terms of worship. This young lady's clothing is very indicative of something I would wear with the hat and the pressed hair, the lace dress, gloves. Um, she's very well put together. She looks very clean, very neat, but also very innocent, and she looks very well behaved. They're kneeling, as you can see, it's taught to be subservient and quiet, devout to the Lord. Even the stained glass goes over and shows a very traditional upbringing and structure. And women within this environment are to follow the man, follow the head of the church. As far as the attire of being a female or girl, for my upbringing, I often remembered and knew that if I wanted to look nice, it meant that I was going to have to take extra time with my hair. And one of those things we would do is to press the hair or put bows, beads, or barrettes in our hair, ponytails, French braids. Um, you learn early as a young Black girl that you're going to wear hats, gloves, carry purses, stockings, slips, just a myriad of ways to adorn yourself in modesty, but also look very nice. So here are a few images of a young lady having her hair pressed with a hot iron, pressing comb. It's either done by open flame or a ceramic stove. The second image shows a young lady with ponytails in her hair, with plastic and sometimes uh, cloth ribbons and bows. And this last image is of a young lady with beads and French braids in her hair. So femininity was not only in how you behaved, it is in how you looked. Women were expected to both be and look a certain way. A majority of that comes from the encultured lens, as we studied. You learn over time that a woman's role is supposed to be what language, customs, behaviors that she sees around her. If all the other women are wearing gloves or straightened hair, you also would need to do that. On Sunday morning, if women are wearing slips and fancy dresses, as was seen here, you would note that you also would need to wear those type of clothing or you'd stick out like a sore thumb. So you learn early that you're where to fit and how to fit. It's unspoken. Nobody really has to tell you. You just learn quickly that if you don't look a certain way, you will be judged. If you don't behave a certain way, you will be judged. With that said, we're going to shift gears and look at how women fit into society when they begin to think for themselves and not follow these norms and the restrictions that are often laid on women. Um, this is a photo of Angela Davis. And Angela Davis is now 81. However, this is an activist, a Marxist feminist political leader, an author, and also a Black Panther who has made significant strides to advance the lives of Black Americans across all fronts. She did not take the typical route of cooking and cleaning and staying quiet. She often led with the men. She had a big voice in our right to bear arms and free lunches and free breakfasts for African American, for children really across the United States. But it moves so more in the African American circuit. And she's still alive to this day and is a great leader. But she's a woman who thought outside the box. So credit to Angela Davis there. When you don't comply with the norms, when you don't fit in with the gloves and the lace and staying in the kitchen, Black women who are outspoken are often viewed as angry. Women in leadership roles who do step out of the kitchen are commonly described in very negative terms. Not very nice words to describe a female CEO or a female COO or any type of person that is going to be in a leadership role. There's usually a very negative or degrading words used to describe them. Also, tropes in media and archetypes describe Black women as the sapphire, that sassy, hard to contain, hard to control type of woman when a woman steps out and is more outspoken. Women are also discouraged from self advocating by the threat of loneliness. It's not seen as attractive to have a strong nature. One of the women that I think of when I see this is Asada Shakur. Um, she was a mover and shaker within the Black Liberation Army. She endured some grave circumstances as she worked with men. Men violated her. She was not able to have their trust over time, um, just simply because she was female in a space that was dominated for men. She endured some very hard circumstances. And so that brings me to how I feel I fit in and how gender and all of these influences have affected my life. I definitely feel that I have been liberated in the sense that I feel I can pursue leadership roles. I've worked in predominantly male fields of work in ministry leadership from the pulpit, often in spaces where there are only men. I definitely have felt the sting of that, not being as welcomed with women. Because I speak up. I use my words to like tools to get things done. I often am not speaking just to emote, but more to achieve a purpose. And I do feel like that has pulled out more masculine tendencies within me. And it made me think of great women like Shirley Chisholm, who was a sociologist, studied a broad number of topics but had a mind to bring people together. She understood logistics, she understood order, and she was strong and wanted change. She ended up making some huge strides within this country. In 1968, she was the first African American woman elected to Congress. In 1972, she became the first Black candidate of a major political party to earn a presidential nomination. And although she lost, she went on to write speeches for presidents. So a woman's words were valuable, more valuable when she gave them to a man, but still she understood that it was her content that was being pushed out. And I've often thought of myself as a young Shirley, someone who understands I'm in male dominated spaces or in white spaces or in spaces that are for people with more income, but also did not allow that to shut me out. I wanted my voice to be heard and to shed light on differences and to bring about inclusion. One of the last things I'm going to discuss here is how I feel like humanity can engage in different ways to be more inclusive to people that are in different social classes, that are in different genders, that are have different backgrounds than we do. And I believe that we can broaden our audience for leaders if we are more inclusive to women. History has shown us, even through the Forbes 500 companies, when women are in charge, there's higher retention rates. Those companies have great profit margin. Women bring a very unique perspective to leadership that should be valued. Also, I think it would be fair to allow women to show up as our authentic selves and live outside of the norms of piety and homemaking, even in the outline we had in our lecture where the Dove Keeping It Beautiful commercial came about, where women are able just to define what beauty is for them and to know that even if it doesn't fit the standard, we still have a place as female, as woman in this world that should be valued and heard. Um, Also, I think self acceptance is huge. As we grow and mature as a society, hopefully each person can grow in their individuality and value themselves and value that experience. And lastly, I believe it is the responsibility of all of us to create systems that support marginalized people, um, whether that's women, specifically Black women, the intersection there of where race meets gender, but also those who are in different groups, whether you feel that they are able to be advocated for or not. Let me pause that. Hold on 1 second. How do I want to end it? Whether you feel that group has a valid voice or not, each of our experiences are unique and add value to society. So I hope you were able to gather some of my personal experience with gender, what I've been exposed to over time, how that's affected me, what I've observed in media about gender, and how those learning theories apply and what we're able to absorb about our place in society. Um, Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy this content. Okay, what do I do now? What do I do? It's just not, there's not that much to. Has her own apartment. Her had it. My babe. That time is fatal. Sometimes I be sliding both of those white things up. Other D. Huh? I'm tired of pizza. I still had a pizza here from last time I came over. There's a sausage and pepperoni pizza in there. Huh? Okay. Cool. I'm just trying to put it down. Yeah, back on the watch. Go back up. I don't know. She said she had some. I'm just kind of. I don't want to mess this up. I'm trying to go back and review it. I don't want to mess the screen up. I don't know how. Do I stop share? Do I stop sharing or how do I do it? Do you know? Record? Oh yeah, she said stop sharing. And then can I play it? Mhm. End.